There's so much that happens in that one moment when you're looking at your reflection. How can we find a way to put makeup on and feel good?
Makeup and clothing and how we wear our hair and the jewelry that we choose, even tattooing, it's self-expression. There's definitely a psychology of makeup, and there's the history of makeup is really interesting, and how different applications have become trendy or fashionable, through, like, from ancient Egypt. Women were lining their eyes with dark, coal.
The wings.
Yeah, they were using, I forget what they were using in ancient Egypt. It's escaped me for a moment, but they were using it to make the whites of their eyes look whiter,
Wow.
And they were pinching their cheeks to make them look pinker, because there's this response to beauty, like it's a programmed in our brain response that we're born with, is that youth and beauty is like its virility, and it's women would try to attract a man by looking younger and looking pinker, and the men hardwired to look for have a child, because we're animals and we're programmed to populate, to birth more human animals. Psychological response to beauty, our own and other people's. And if you look at, models or the actors and actresses that people always say, oh, the most beautiful, top 10 most beautiful people in the world, People magazine or whatever, they all have this symmetry on their faces called the golden ratio. And it's a mathematical, geometric fact. All babies of any species have similar facial features. Their faces are very round, their eyes are really big, and it's a way that Mother Nature makes sure that we don't eat our young when we're hungry.
Oh, wow.
So the response when you see a baby of any species is, oh, so
yeah,
you want to take care of that baby. So the men and women who are considered beautiful are the ones that have those very youthful, symmetrical faces. So it's a psychological response. There's also the fashionable, like I said, that society dictates what's beautiful, and we are imprinted by that in a way with the media. There's along with the archetypes of the maiden, mother, crone. So all of the
interesting.
The maiden who's the young, beautiful, the mother who's, mature and she's having the children, and then the crone. I personally think all three of those phases in a woman's life are beautiful. Looking at ourselves in the mirror, looking at ourselves change as women, whether it's aging, whether it's weight gain, whether it's comparing ourselves to what society tells us is beautiful, or comparing ourselves to what the imprint, the program in the mind says is beautiful, which is a baby, a symmetrical face or a baby. Finding self-acceptance is a journey that will take a lifetime for all of us. The thing that we think about the most is the thing that's going to show up. So I find something that I really like about myself, and I highlight that thing with makeup. I enhance that thing that I really love, and I think that makes me feel good.
I love that.
That's, instead of looking at myself and trying to hide my flaws, try to minimize my flaws, find the thing that you like the most and enhance that feature. Make that the focus. If you think you have really pretty lips, and you do, find a lipstick that you love and that makes you really happy, and wear it every day. Wear it when nobody's around.
I love that.
Wear it when you're by yourself. Just wear
That's
it.
what I tell people to do with pretty underwear.
Yes, it's a very complicated beauty and self-worth, and the image of women, and what you and I think we're close to the same age. What we were imprinted with as
right.
women, about what's considered beautiful, you know, it can be very damaging. And when a young girl is told over and over, oh, you're so pretty, you're so pretty, oh, you're so pretty. That girl learns that she's going to get attention because she's pretty, not because she's smart, not because she's talented.
Interesting, yes.
Not because she's kind. And what happens, and I've seen it a lot of times, it makes me kind of sad, but it happens and still does. A girl will learn to put 100% of her self-worth and her value in her looks. That's all she's worth, is her beauty. And she'll get to a certain age and realize that beauty fades or changes. Physical bodies change. And then women who have had that experience have a difficult time when they get, closer to, menopause or into the crone phase, the crone archetype. They don't know who they are.
That's so true.
I work with really young women. I worked with a lot of models when I was, starting out in fashion. I worked in fashion before I got into television. I would always try to talk to them about the other things that they did in their lives and the other things that they did really well.
Oh, yeah.
There's only a handful of people on planet Earth that can be models for their entire lives. It's one of those.
It's a hard job, I'm telling you, but
it's a really
What could you tell your 11-year-old self first about body image?
If I could go back and tell my 11-year-old self something about body image, I would tell myself not to compare myself to other people. I would tell myself not to look at magazines and think that I had to be a waif to be considered beautiful. The models in those magazines, they choose those girls because they make the clothes look good, because the clothes just hang off of them like a clothes hanger, like a mannequin. I would tell myself to go easy, and to know that bodies change through your whole life. And I would also tell my 11-year-old self that you are not your physical form. You are not you are not your physical form. This is the vessel that carries you around this time. And you're going to have a unique experience in this vessel. So honor the vessel, but don't allow it to become your identity and who you are.
All of the moms watching, this is good stuff to tell our babies.
I think I want to tell the moms, I want to tell a quick story about before I got to New York, I was living in Arizona and I was working as a photographer, and I was doing portraits of young families. And I had a girl about 11, I think she was about 11. And I would try to talk to the girls, and, I was very young and I looked young, so the kids would respond differently to me, a young woman, than they would like a guy, with like a grandpa. They would kind of loosen up with me. This girl, I was talking to her, I was like, what kind of music do you like? Or what do you like to do? And she's like, I like Michael Jackson, but my dad won't let me, or my parents won't let me watch the videos. So, I only get to listen to them. I said, why can't you watch the videos? And she said, because there's a naked woman in one of them, and that's disgusting. And I said, what? What's disgusting? And she said, a naked woman, that's disgusting. Oh. And in that moment, I realized that little girl is growing up believing that her naked body is disgusting. And I realized that I was taught the same thing.
So was I.
A lot of us were, that a woman's body is disgusting. So I grew up, as a lot of us did, with shame about my body. And shame is a hard burden to carry, and it's an even harder one to shed. The longer you carry it, the harder it is to put down.
Mm-hmm.
So I would tell the moms raising daughters, I'm not telling you to tell your daughter to, walk around in a bikini unless you want her to and she feels cool about it. Don't teaching a girl shame will squash her.
Yeah.
And a boy too. But living in a girl body it's complicated.
I was that little girl, except then it followed with, because I didn't look like those bodies that were bad. I didn't look like those bad bodies, that was disgusting, those women. I didn't look like them, and I wasn't desired. I was always the heavier kid. So, body image and what we say, like the way that you just said that, I had 4 brothers, so there was always nudity on TV. And I remember thinking, this is disgusting, guys, To me, that was what women were. Like, they were voluptuous, they were beautiful. Those were the only ones that got attention. So it is fascinating that you just bring all of this up, because when we're buying products, when we're looking at that reflection and we're like, look how beautiful, I lost 50 pounds, or I need to lose 50 pounds. These are the thoughts and the mindsets that we bring to that moment in the mirror. I just love what you're saying, because it's so accurate and true.
This contradictory attitude about beauty and women's sexuality in the Western world, and I guess a lot of the world, that beauty, it's celebrated and it's on the cover of magazines and it's on billboards and it's on television, and the women are sexy, but then they're also hated and despised because of that same beauty. People want to possess that beauty and people want to destroy that beauty.
What a war inside yourself,
right? And it's cultural, I think, and it's also maybe not as cultural as there are cultures that don't really do that as much as we do. One of my clients, her name's Kim Leggett, and she's an author. She wrote an amazing book called The Grace Here.
Ooh,
it's beautiful. It's YA, and I hope I get to work on the movie. But she wrote a book about, it's a fiction about girls when they turn 16. She told me a story about how she came to write that book. She said she was living in New York. She was in Penn Station waiting for a train to Washington, D.C. And she saw a family with 2 young daughters, one of whom looked like she was going back, getting on a train to go back to private school. She had a short little plaid skirt on. She was maybe 14, 15, and her legs were too long for her body. And she was just starting to look not like a little girl anymore. Yeah. And she was kind of lanky, and she wasn't really aware of her body yet, not really aware of her sexuality. And my friend / client Kim watched this man walk past the family and slow down and just sort of like lecherously stare at the girl, this really young girl. And he just kept going, but he just glared at her like he wanted to devour her.
Yeah.
And moments later, a woman walked by that girl, an older woman, and looked her up and down with such disdain. So that goes to my point. Why do we celebrate beauty, and in the same breath we want to destroy it? Why do people want to possess that beauty and destroy it? What does it bring up in us? What fear does it bring up in us that we collectively have that response? The response to the body, the naked body. Like I know girls. I work with women, young women of all ages, women my age, everybody in between. So, and beauty, this is a conversation that I've had multiple times with women about beauty, because I'm the person they talk to about it.
Right.
I feel like it's been my study for decades. is beauty and the psychology of it and how people feel, you know. So the women that we celebrate in the media for being so beautiful, as much as they're admired, they're also just hated for it.
Yeah.
They're hated for the same thing. So, and a friend of mine once said, she said, you know what's harder than being the ugliest girl in the room? Being the prettiest girl in the room. Because everybody either wants to sit with you because you're pretty and they'll get attention for sitting next to you, or they hate you.
Yeah.
So a lot of women, girls and women, if they get too much attention for being pretty, they'll downplay it. They'll cut their hair off, you know, they'll look at, did you see Framing Britney Spears?
No.
It's good.
Really no, good. I did not.
And it goes into all of that, like a young girl coming into her sexuality, and
it breaks my heart.
Oh God, that poor girl, really. I mean, everyone's like, poor Britney, whatever, she makes $1 bazillion. It's a high price to pay.
What are some really quick, fun, easy ways where we could not have to spend thousands of dollars and spend thousands of hours remolding our face to that baby and wipe it off at the end of the day?
Contouring is a trend, you know, and I love Instagram too, and there's a lot of great things about Instagram. One of the things I love about Instagram is all the body positive stuff.
Oh, yes.
That's on Instagram, and how there are a lot of people. There's a model, her name's Iskra, I think, Iskra.
I gotta look her up.
British girl. She's a bigger girl, and she's gorgeous. She's beautiful, and she celebrates her body. And
I love that.
There's a few people. You don't have to be, skinny, like, to do those poses. Anybody can do those poses, and you don't have to want to try to change your body. You know, not everybody. Most women are not a size 4. Most of us.
True.
True.
Yes.
So that's one thing I love about Instagram, and even the Kardashians brought being a curvy girl back into fashion. You don't have to be a waif to be considered beautiful.
Agreed.
And you know, people love to hate the Kardashians, and I don't watch the show, but I can tell you every single time any one of those girls had come on the Rachael Ray Show, I didn't do their makeup. They brought their own makeup artist, but they were very, very nice to everybody. Very nice.
Aww.
Kris Jenner, always very, very nice to everyone.
Oh, I love Kris Jenner.
Bruce Jenner, before she became Caitlyn, came on a few times, and I did his makeup when he was Bruce. Lovely, lovely human. So, people do what they do to make money, and they have their empire. That's cool, whatever. Do your thing. You do you. You do you.
Yeah.
But
they brought the curves. Yes.
They brought the curves back into fashion, and I appreciate that.
Agreed.
So,
me too.
But the question about contouring, the Kardashians also brought makeup artists to some degree into this sort of celebrity stature where, not just the Kardashians, there are other celebrities who really, their makeup artists are really looked at like, how did they do that? Like the J-Lo glow, her skin's like so gorgeous. So the contouring, though, it doesn't really look good in real life. It's one of those things that started in fashion photography and on Instagram with the influencers and all that. And it can look interesting on an Instagram post, but you look at that person in natural light or in the supermarket, and they look ridiculous. To me, they look ridiculous. And the eyebrows, I call them the Instabrows. Again, it's another thing that's going to...
I had to look at mine. Did I do the Instabrow today?
No, you didn't. It's another one of those things that, I would be in New York City on a subway train, and I would see a girl who I know she worked really hard on those eyebrows that morning. And I was like, okay, well, that's her self-expression. It's jarring to look at, but hey, man, you do you. So if you're after a way to enhance your natural beauty, and every single person on this earth has natural beauty. I like Bobbi Brown's philosophy. Bobbi Brown was the makeup artist that started in the 90s. She started the no makeup look. So she was a big fashion makeup artist. She did a lot of fashion, and she started her own line. And she wanted the models to look like they didn't have makeup on. She just wanted them to look flawless and beautiful.
Fresh.
And fresh, you know. So her makeup line, and she herself, I've met her a few times, she doesn't wear any makeup.
Wow.
Her philosophy was the no makeup look. So going back to find the thing about your face that you like the most.
Yeah.
And if you want to look like you have higher cheekbones or more cheekbone, don't put a brown line here. Don't do that.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Eve Pearl is another makeup artist who teaches something called the reverse contour. So instead of putting the brown line here, which actually brings your face kind of down, she puts color here, up here, which kind of gives you a lift. Her philosophy is very interesting too. So she teaches basically like, where does the sun hit your face? It doesn't hit you here or here.
Right.
It hits
Right.
where the curve of your face, and you know, you can figure out where to put makeup by feeling the bones in your face.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people think they just have to mimic the Instagram tutorial, but that girl has a different bone structure than
That's
anybody
so true.
in the whole world does. And that makeup look that she's doing on her Instagram tutorial is not going to look the same on you or me in my bathroom or real life. You know, if you're, you know, a lot of people ask like, how do you go from day to night? Tell me. Well, depends on it. There's so many factors, so many factors and variants in that, you know. But also, another question I used to get when I would have a person sit down in my chair at the Rachael Ray Show, and I'd say, "What are you wearing? Or what's your segment about?" They'll be like, "I'm going to wear a pink dress, and I'm talking about cupcake recipes today." Okay, great. And I turn around and I like start doing their makeup, and they would say, "How do you know what to do? You've never met me. How do you know how do you know what you're doing?" And I said, "I don't really know how I know. I just know." And it's not in my brain. It's in my eyes and it's in my hands.
Mm-hmm.
My eyes are trained and my hands are trained. So it's not even something I can really tell you until I actually think about it, because so much of it is intuitive.
Right.
You know, so if I'm going to give you or anybody how do you go from day to night? Like, put more lipstick on. There's a lot of little things you could do just to bump it up a little bit. And you know, I don't even wear lipstick anymore because we're in a pandemic, but
Right.
yeah. And that's another thing about makeup. It's something that people can hide behind if they're not careful about it, if they're not mindful and present when they're applying.
That's so true. Like, I can't leave the house until I put my face on.
Yeah, people hide behind makeup. And that's another part of the psychology, you know, how where it hits us. There's actually examples in film. Did you ever see Dangerous Liaisons with Glenn Close? There was a scene where Glenn Close's character looks in the mirror and she picks up a lipstick and she goes all over her face, you know, and actually in psychiatric wards, one of the behaviors that is an indicator for like a break, a psychic break or an episode, is inappropriate use of makeup.
Interesting.
And makeup can also be an indicator of body dysmorphic disorder. Like, there's a lot of things that makeup can tell you about a person if they're like disconnecting from their body in some way.
Instead of getting a breast job, you can do some shading in your cleavage, and it does look like you got a little lift. I've used that for about 53 years.
Yeah, people do. when I was living in New York, it was a very like go 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 kinetic, like constant work, and I loved it. And what I found was I watched friends really lose their balance and never ever really give themselves a chance to recharge, and they suffered and the work suffered, and I had to learn the hard way because I worked too much. There were years where that was the only thing I ever did, and it was great, but it was not balanced. One of the things I do, my husband, even when I was like working a ton, he knew that I would want to come home and cook. And he called it chop therapy, my chop therapy. So we would go and we had this beautiful apartment in New York, this biggest, spacious loft suite. It was amazing. And he would go in his area and do his thing, and I would put on music and pour a glass of wine, and I would just get real zen with my cooking, and I would just cook. And a lot of people would be like, "Weren't you so just exhausted? How do you cook?"
Right.
Because that's my zen. That's like my quiet time and my creative. I just get really quiet and chop 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 chop. Staying balanced is for me when I was really, really in the work. Eating real food, not eating junk, but eating real food. Even if I had to make my food and bring it with me to work. Sleeping, like really sleeping. I always took time for a spiritual practice, and there were times when it wasn't. I can never say I meditate every single day. I would love to say that.
All right,
but I would do something that was for
a connection,
me. Right? And I feel like because I've been so blessed, and because I think, people, my mom and dad always say, how do the stars always line up for you? I'm like, well, I
believe they will. They do.
They really, really do. They really line up for me every single day. So I know that I'm being guided and I'm being protected, and I'm grateful. So another part of staying balanced and staying present in your world, in your life, in your career, with your, being present with your family, your spouse, your cats, your friends, whomever, is being grateful, being really truly recognizing and acknowledging things that come to us that deserve our gratitude, even if it's just little things, And again,
I love that.
The more gratitude you have in your life, the more good things will come for even, little things. So 2019, I called it my year of yes. And I started a gratitude journal. So I realized in 2019 that I was working too much and saying no to really fun things and the things I gotta work. I can't do that. I gotta work. And I thought, wait a minute, why am I living in New York and not doing all these amazing things? Like, I need to go to that theater. I need to go to that museum or that party or that, that park, picnic in the park with those friends. I'm doing that book club. I need to go on that boat ride. Like I need to do all these things. Why am I saying no to work? The gratitude journal started with like, oh, Carrie brought me breakfast this morning because she got to work before me. So she got coffee and a little, breakfast thing and put it on my station for me. Oh, that was nice. Monday, June, whatever, Carrie brought me breakfast. And then it would turn into like, wow, somebody just gave me concert tickets. Oh my God, my friend who works with Stevie Nicks as her makeup artist called me on a Tuesday, and she's like, hey, what are you doing on Friday? I'm like, I don't know, what are you in town? What are you doing? She's like, I got two seats for the Fleetwood Mac show at Madison Square Garden. Do you want it? She's like, they're amazing seats. They're like VIP. The people can't use them. And I was like, yes, I do want them.
I've seen her in concert. Amazing. And I took a friend with me, Paulette, who is the biggest Stevie Nicks fan in the universe. So it was so much fun to bring a friend. So gratitude creates, even if it's a crazy life, if you can stay in gratitude, you will have some kind of a balance. And gratitude is a spiritual practice. So yes, it is.
Does that answer that question?
That was so easy.
Successful people that I know are really, really authentic people.
Mm.
And other people respond to authenticity and truth and being vulnerable. Being brave doesn't mean that you're the strongest person in the world and you're just gonna go through your life. Being brave means that you're scared, but you're gonna do it anyway. Being brave is being vulnerable. You're afraid of that, but you're gonna go and do it anyway. That's bravery. So bravery and vulnerability are two sides of the same coin. And that is also authenticity. So you go into your life, into whatever it is that you've chosen to do or that you're guided to do or drawn to, and it's terrifying. You don't know what you're doing, but you're going to go and try and you're going to figure it out. There was one thing I wanted to add. Gabby Bernstein was a client for a really long time, like a very friendly client, like a really wonderful experience with her.
Yeah.
I remember being at a masterclass with her, and we traded hair and makeup for her allowing me to attend the class, which was great. So, I met all these amazing women in this class and people doing like great things. And, people respond to Gabby's energy. She is truthful. She's really, and she's one of those people that she's also physically very beautiful. So it's off-putting to some people. They're like, I don't trust you. You're a little too pretty.
Yeah.
And she'll say, thank you for saying that. And then she'll blame me. She's like, blame that girl.
Yeah. Yeah, she's just and she's authentic, very authentic.
She's authentic. I remember saying to her one time, I was like, Gabby, I feel like I need to make a change. Like, I want to help more people. Like, I want to do something bigger. Like you're really affecting people. You're really, really like helping people change. And she said something to me like, Rob, you help people change all the time. Like, that's your job. You help people change and transform every single day. She said, I couldn't go out and do what I do if you didn't help me get ready to do it.
Right.
And I was like, oh. So helping people have confidence going out and doing what they're going to do is something that I've come to realize that I'm really good at, and that makeup artists and hairstylists and costume people, wardrobe people do. Gabby said to me once, she said, every job, every company, every business, every family needs a light worker. A light worker doesn't have to be a Gabby Bernstein or a Sonia Cochette, who I worked with once too, who was wonderful. It doesn't have to be a Marianne Williamson or a Deepak Chopra. A light worker, the police station needs a light worker. The bank needs a light worker. The restaurant needs a light worker. Every place in existence needs a light worker. The television station needs a light worker. The movie set needs a light worker.
Yes.
Be that light worker. Take your light and take it into the place in the world that you've chosen to be, and shine and help other people shine. Lastly, at that same masterclass with Gabby, I went home and I thought, I said, remember that old kind of Zen idea, before enlightenment, you chop wood and you carry water. After enlightenment, you chop wood and you carry water. You just do it as an enlightened person or enlightened being. So before enlightenment, you do hair and makeup, or you do typing, or you make food and prepare it for customers, before enlightenment, I was doing hair and makeup. After enlightenment, I was doing hair and makeup, but I was doing it consciously. You do it consciously. You do it in a different fashion, bringing some kind of, I'm not saying I'm enlightened, but I'm going to keep working on it. You bring an enlightened state to whatever it is that you're practicing, or whatever it is that you're doing at work or that you're doing at home. You do it as a conscious person, or a person who's working on being conscious, So that's what I'll leave you with. April, my love.